everybody, welcome to another Staff Connections. I'm your host, Bill Cole. Probably really don't matter. What matters is the person right next to me. And why do they matter? Because they're making a difference each and every day in your district. With me is Mr. Todd Bowers. How you doing there, Todd?
Doing well, thanks, Bill.
All right, hopefully this works, Todd. Because you don't have a walk-up song, but this is it. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I wish I could be. Yes. Did you fly higher than an eagle? You are the wind beneath my wings. And you're like a saint. So I read this, Todd. I've read this, probably about 6 or 7 times and cried about 18 times during the last couple of days. This is unbelievable.
You mean my information?
Yes, your information.
I can't imagine I'm that interesting.
Yes, you are. You are interesting. All right, so let's start it off. Your 8th grade building here.
Yes.
One of probably the oldest building now in the district. Okay, so how long have you been here and you teach gifted, correct?
I do. I've been with the district 27 years. Hard to believe. I'm in my 27th year. Was originally hired to teach math, so I taught 8th grade math my first year. Switched over to 7th grade math my second year, and then after that, stepped into the gifted program. So I've been doing that for the last 25 now.
All right. What do you love about the gifted program? What do you love about it?
I would say it's the opportunity to work with small groups of kids and really make a difference. The kids really enjoy learning, and when I can have just a small number of kids in my room at a time and do some cool projects with them, they really seem to shine. They step up and they open up and really do a nice job. And you really get to see what they're all about on the inside, and it comes out.
All right. And again, just reading, you're a lifelong basically Springfordian here, right? So you grew up, right? All right, here. Parents, your dad taught locally, correct?
My dad was a professor at Ursinus,
Yep.
and also a CPA, so he practiced locally. So we grew up in the area. I guess we moved out of King of Prussia when I was about 4. So I started in the Springford School District for kindergarten. So I feel like I've been here my whole life, basically. But yeah.
Yeah, mom's, basically you both your parents, and you have your sister, and you have. Your sister has two sons that you're very involved with.
3.
Or 3, excuse me.
3 boys, my nephews, so I'm very involved in their lives. They love to play sports. They're involved in music programs over at O&J, so we're always going to one of their concerts or checking out one of their sporting events, and it's fun. They keep you on your toes.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
So I'm always busy with them, and so if it's not something for school here, it's family.
All right. So speaking of that, you kind of mentioned, you did a beautiful segue here. So one of the things you said you love about teaching, I read this. I got to read this word for word, everybody. I value helping kids grow and mature as young adults. School is so much more than subjects being taught, and helping students develop skills and problem-solving skills is essential. I really enjoy getting to know the kids and the interest in being someone to whom they can rely on. Unbelievable.
I said that?
Yes, okay. That's unbelievable. That should be like the spring. That should be on like something on the Springford website. Maybe Andrew here is going to put that on something there. But that's phenomenal.
It was from the heart.
Yeah.
When I had to sit down and think about that and respond to your question, I thought, all right, let me give Bill an honest answer here. And I guess that was it. That's what I came up with at the time.
Yeah, even the qualities you said. There are many teaching is definitely a career, not a job. That's right. Awesome. And you need to be a multitasker and a good listener. Fair in your judgment and approach, and a solid communicator. You need to present professional appearance. I'm dressed down a little bit today, wearing my RCTV.
Okay.
And confident and knowledgeable in your content area. So
right.
Again, I always tell people this isn't, like you said, like a job. I look at it as, it's a service in a sense. It's honorable.
Right. I think for me, I always wanted to be a teacher because of the teachers that I had at Springford here. It was nothing I really ever thought too long and hard about. I think I had such a phenomenal experience here, enjoyed being a student at Springford, that when it was time to figure out what I was going to do with my life, it almost seemed natural that I would want to come back and teach. I thought, let me come back and give to the kids, the future generations, the way I had been given to. Let me try to help the future students of Springford have the awesome experience that I had when I was a student. And it was just a simple motive. I thought if I can make it happen by coming back and giving my all to the kids and helping them to get the most out of their education here, it'd be a career well spent.
Yeah. All right. And I'll tell you what. Let's just talk outside of school here.
Okay.
All right. So you have a large farm. Is it local type thing? You had 20-something acres, I believe.
I have a property up in Boyertown. It's only 4.5 acres.
Okay.
Originally, it had many more acres to it, but the family that owned it before me had subdivided it off. So when I purchased the property, it's an old stone farmhouse built in 1807, and it's got 4.5 acres. So I don't utilize it all myself. I need some help with managing the fields and whatnot, but I have 2 large gardens that I like to plant every year. Harvest a ton of vegetables that I share with everybody. And it's kind of like therapy for me. I always say, running a garden or maintaining a garden is like therapy.
Yeah. So is there a lot of maintenance inside the house when you're talking? How old is the house again? And
the house was built in 1807, so it's well over 200 years old. When I first moved in, we had to put a new roof on it, new windows, freshened up the inside with some paint. But other than that, it's hardwood floors throughout. The house itself is in good condition. During COVID, when we had some time off, I remodeled the bathroom, put a new bathroom in. Other than that, it's just maintaining the property and the buildings. Did get the barn resided 2 summers ago, so it's just every year I chip away at something, just to keep everything in top-notch shape.
This guy's going to be on HGTV. Wait till you see that. You're gonna be,
Bob Vila once
he
he
retires.
retires.
Joanne Gaines and those.
Exactly.
All right, so
I need their budget. Though.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
So speaking of speaking of houses, so one of the things you've done is flip houses and things like that. So made probably a couple million, I'm sure.
Nah, not quite. That's why I'm still sitting here at 7:45 on a rainy Thursday morning here. But no, I think real estate, I've always been passionate about it. I'm not sure why. You look at all the houses that are out there, and every home is different. And even if a house is a cookie cutter house, like similar to another one in the development, it's, every house has a different location. So if the house itself isn't different, the location is. And I just was always fascinated by how you can just drive down a street and see 20 different houses that are literally unique in every sense.
Yeah. All right. And I'll tell you what, speaking of passions, cars. You like cars, huh?
I do.
You've had, like 28 or so, 26, 28 cars in your lifetime?
I think at one time I've had that many. I just tend to, when...
So, like, what are some of your favorite cars?
I have a 66 Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham with low original miles. That stays tucked away in the garage. It's like a gangster car.
It's not here today?
Yeah. No, it's not here today. It's just, I bought that years ago, and it was in really nice shape, and I've kept that, and... I really like that car. It's probably one of my favorites. I inherited my grandmother's 71 Lincoln Continental Mark III. She bought that in 1974, so that's been in the family for a long time. So keep that car tucked away in the garage. That needs some restoration, but at least I have it. So one of these days, maybe when I retire from teaching,
your
I'll
last day,
restore that.
you drive the gangster one in.
Exactly.
So if you could have one car, even if it's a movie from a movie or whatever, what would it be?
I love a lot of different cars, but the one that stands out to me as like an American icon is the 1959 Cadillac Coupe de Ville, or an Eldorado convertible. I wouldn't mind having the convertible version, but they're well over 100,000 now.
Pretty
so
nice, yeah.
Probably won't be
like
buying
Tony
one of those.
Soprano coming in there.
Exactly. They're huge, big fins, chrome. And just, they're bold. They just stand out and say, hey, here I am.
Nice.
Piece of American history. So I think that would probably be my dream car.
All right. And you're well-rounded. So you play music. So you mentioned you kind of play the trombone, and you've gotten like certain little gigs here and there you just pick up. So how long have you been doing that?
Well, I started in elementary school learning the trombone, and I was also taking piano lessons at the same time. So I was blessed that my parents pushed me to study music a little bit and be musical. And to this day, I just love playing music. Songs are always on my laptop playing while the kids are here working, or I'm here doing my work. Always have a song playing. But I did a high school jazz band, marching band, concert band, things like that. Went on to college, did the orchestra and jazz band, and actually concert bands in college too. And that was for playing the trombone. I was involved in that way. So I wish I'd gotten better at it.
Yeah.
I wish I could play the piano a little bit better than I do. I took 8 years worth of lessons and never really became,
If you could play, you're better than me.
Well,
So that's not bad. All right. So speaking of loving your old heart. You said you're kind of old at heart
I'd say
with
old
music.
soul.
You like the old soul, like the 50s, 60s. You kind of like that band kind of music and things like that.
What I call it good music.
The good
You know,
music.
back when
huh?
music had some rhythm to it, some good melodies. You could dance to it, and just good wholesome music.
Yeah, and I noticed some of your movies, classics, The Rock, Uncle Buck. I loved Uncle Buck.
That was a funny movie.
John Candy.
It's funny. I realized I don't watch a whole lot of movies.
Yeah.
So when you were prompting me for these answers, I thought, what am I going to tell Bill? I
Yeah,
don't really. But the Rock is one that I always kept me on the edge of my seat
Yeah.
when I watch that. I think probably because I like Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
And Uncle Buck. John Candy's
Yeah.
just a legend.
He is.
Classic.
He's great. He's great. All right. And one of the things, I have to, just before we wrap this up, you mentioned your dream job would be work with special needs and make sure they're prepared. I mean, talk a little bit about that. That would be great.
So everybody always asks, what are you going to do when you're done teaching? Because I can't just sit around after I retire. I'll have to do something. And I started thinking about that. And I think I've just always, because I've been so passionate about coming back to my community and working here. I was a Springford student. I wanted to come back and teach here. I've been fortunate enough to do that. I've always valued this community. So even though I live in Boyertown now, I still feel like I have a special connection to the Royersford area. Mm-hmm. And I always thought, why wouldn't it be nice if we could just help our community become just a little bit better by taking care of those who are a little less fortunate. So every neighborhood, every community, I think, has people that have needs. And I think, when you focus on helping those people with their needs, you become a better community.
Yeah.
So, there's people that, maybe won't be able to hold down a full-time job without some guidance.
Yep.
Maybe they've got some skills that they can offer, but they also need some assistance. So I always thought it'd be nice to have a company where the purpose of that company was to take those people who maybe aren't the greatest in terms of employability, but work with them and help them to establish a career for themselves and a good life within their community.
All right. Let's talk about career and retirement. Last question. When you retire, walk away, pull up in your gangster car.
Right.
What do you want the kids and just spring forward and just your faculty, your friends and things like that? What do you want to be remembered for? And
I think I'd like to be remembered as someone who, while he was here at Springford, gave his all. Gave 100% to the students and to his colleagues, and just really had a smile on his face while he was here. He felt good about coming into work and about giving his all to the students of Springford. And I think I would want nothing more than to know that I played a small part in helping the students go from point A to point B, so that when they leave here, they've got the skills and the ability to take it one step further at the high school and become good, productive members of our community.
thanks for joining us, Todd.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Bill.
Hey, everybody. You got to give this guy a hug. I'm telling you, he's the greatest. He's the greatest. So next time you see him, whether he's driving one of his fancy cars, playing the piano, maybe at a local pub or something like that, maybe the trombone, give him a shout out. Thanks for joining us here today on Staff Connections. I'm your host, Bill Culp. Until next time, have a great day.